Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of AoS Close-Ups. This week we'll take a look at the winged Stormcast hunter and assassin, the Knight-Venator. We'll explore the background, the rules, and what role he plays on the tabletop. The Knight-Venator is an auxiliary commander often appointed to lead a Chamber's prosecutor strike forces. The teams quickly respond to critical targets that need to be eliminated as the bulk of the force advances. Other times, this Sky Hunter is individually tasked to assassinate enemy leaders and monsters, a task he's perfectly suited for, as his shots are deadly accurate and blindingly fast. He's able to deliver a volley of shots in between the plates of a Varangard before one can even blink. His arrows and quiver are magical in nature. The quivers are made by the fabled six smiths of Azir and offer the Venator an endless supply of arrows, refilling every time one is let loose with his Realm Hunter bow. The Knight's Venator also have access to one of the most potent missile weapons ever created. Forged of comet-struck steel and blessed by the priests of Sigmar, the star-fated arrow blazes across the battlefield like a lightning bolt striking with an explosion of heavenly power. The perfect killing shot for even the mightiest of Chaos's champions. Finally, Star Eagles accompany all Venators. These elusive creatures are found hunting in the etheric clouds of Azir, and Knight-Venators train in this region, and as a rite of passage must bond with one of these magical birds. It is said that these creatures exist between planes, allowing them to detect and hunt spirits and various otherworldly creatures as they invade the heavens. Alright, so let's now take a look at the rules. Knight-Venators are fast, and they're also respectively tough. They have a 12-inch flying move, and he has that defining hero save of a 3-up, and he also comes with 5 wounds, which is often a staple for a hero. He has a very high bravery value of 9, which will serve him well since he'll probably be a lone character, obviously, but he'll be operating on those far flanks of the enemy, and those few attacks that do target a bravery characteristic will be less effective against him. Now, looking at his weapon options, he only comes with a Realm Hunter bow, and he also has a little Star Eagle friend. This guy has 6 ranged attacks at a whopping 30-inch range. He could definitely reach out and touch somebody. What takes this impressive stat to the next level, however, is the fact that he hits on a 2+. A 2+. That is next to automatic in accuracy. The other 3 attacks he has that are at range, also 30 inches, is a bit less accurate, but it still has a 50-50 chance to hit, and it wounds on a 3-up. Now in combat, this guy becomes a little bit more grounded with only 3 attacks from the Star Eagle. He doesn't even carry a dagger, he won't even use his fist to punch a guy. He just sicks the little eagle on his enemy in combat. But the eagle combat stats are just the same as it is in shooting, and as you notice, all the attacks, shooting and melee, only do 1 wound. So overall, this guy has a purpose and he's pretty dedicated, rules-wise at least. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at the other abilities. Now, the first ability is called Celestial Talons, which turns any 6 or mortar wound into a -3 attack. Now, this is nice, but I have to be honest, I think you'll rarely see this or feel, benefited from it. His other ability, however, is a once per game Star-Fated Arrow. You can trade in all of your Realm Hunter bow attacks for just 1 attack that does D3 plus 3 damage, which is pretty nice, but it gets way better than that. Because if your target is a monster or a hero, it ends up doing D6 plus 3 damage, and that's a major damage dealer. Now, unfortunately, a lot of heroes do have a great armor save, and the weapon only has -1 rend, so against a good 3+ hero, your chance of getting that D6 plus 3 damage is a coin flip away, which kind of sucks because it's a once per game rule. But I think it's definitely worth the gamble rather than sending the shot into a unit for the D3 plus 3 damage, but we'll get more into that in the next section. Before that, I want to mention just one other thing that I think is missing from the scroll, and that is a rule that reflects the Celestial Eagle's ability to hunt, or hurt, I should say, ethereal creatures. Creatures from the Nighthaunt faction under the Death section all have the special ability called Ethereal on their War Scroll, which gives them the ability to ignore rend modifiers when making save rolls. Now, this is, to me, is a bit ironic that the creature, the Star Eagle, who's supposedly specially equipped to fight ethereal creatures, has an ability whose benefit is completely negated by ethereal creatures. So I think I would have liked to see a nod to the fluff in the form of maybe the Eagle's attacks inflicting mortal wounds against either Nighthaunt faction models or anything with that ethereal ability that they all share on their War Scroll. To me, this is just a missed opportunity to connect the rules and the fluff, and hopefully in the future, maybe they'll just errata this. Okay, so first things first, you're just not going to get too much more accurate than this guy. You could give him a reroll, but after that, I'm pretty sure you're just automatically hitting, if not already. This guy is also fast, and he has an incredible threat range, as I mentioned earlier, 6 shots at 30 inches, pretty good. He should also never be engaged unless you're just not paying attention, or your opponent is very committed and he's beelining it straight towards him with his faster flying units. With a 3+ armor save, he's pretty resilient to a lot of shooting out there. I think if to shoot him down reliably, your opponent's going to have to allocate resources that might be better served targeting his monsters or other bigger threats. So in that situation, he becomes an effective distraction. His weakness, of course, is the -1 rend combined with doing just 1 damage. Now don't get me wrong, any rend is good, particularly against those lightly armored targets, say that they're 4-up not in cover or they're 5-up guys. Those are good. But I think he will struggle against those heavily armored targets that are in cover, say they're 4-up in cover. He'll pick off a wound, here or there, but he's just going to be annoying rather than an actual threat. And it's a waste of his talents as an assassin to face these type of targets. Now against heroes, he's a long-term threat against them all, as he can finish off any wounded hero pretty easily throughout the game. And he's a more immediate threat if that hero happens to have a 4 or 5+ save. Then there's the holy grail of shots, the star-fated arrow. It does have a bit of randomness, but the floor is pretty great against monsters and heroes since it's only a 4. And because of that, any character that gets hit with that is going to be on his last breath, usually with only 1 wound left. And any monsters, you can probably be guaranteed to be knocked down a level from that type of shot. While the ceiling itself of that shot will obliterate a lot of heroes and have the effectiveness of many monsters. Again, the weakness is not purely at having a minus rend, but having that in conjunction with something else, in this case a once per turn ability, or per game ability. You have to pick your target pretty carefully. He's definitely a wizard killer, but it gets a little iffy if you're targeting, say, something like a Corn Lord. You have a Terrorgeist, Gargant, or Chimera? That's good. A Dracoth or a Tree Lord? Maybe not so much. So he's a great monster or hero assassin, but not all monsters and heroes are created equally. But I think that this shot should be taken regardless, because I think it's wasted on a unit. While the floor is the same, ultimately you'll do 4 damage to a unit, but it's just not as devastating against a unit because it doesn't create a sense of urgency for your opponent. So he can effectively just ignore the knight, allow him to do his little penance of damage here or there to whatever unit he's attacking, and then just proceed with whatever plan he has. Whereas if you're using him in the role of an assassin, your opponent is pressed to make a decision on whether he wants to allocate resources towards the Venator or not. And that will conclude this episode of AoS Close-Ups. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to comment below about what unit you'd like to see next, and thank you for watching.